The stadium lights buzzed to life like a heartbeat I couldn't ignore, flooding the empty field in a harsh white glow that chased away the twilight shadows. I stood there, cleats sinking into the turf, sweat still stinging my eyes from the brutal practice we'd just wrapped, when his voice sliced through the post-game chatter. A low, ragged whisper that hit me like a blindside tackle. "You ever wonder if we're all just pretending out here?" And as I turned, heart slamming against my ribs, I saw him. Jake Harlan, the quiet cornerback who'd haunted my peripheral vision all season, his helmet dangling from one hand, eyes locked on mine with a raw vulnerability that stripped away every layer of armor I'd built. It was supposed to be nothing. A casual team huddle after Friday lights at our little Division III school in upstate New York. The kind of ritual where we cracked open cheap beers under the bleachers, swapped stories about fumbled plays and future NFL dreams, and pretended the weight of small-town expectations didn't crush us. But that night, with the October chill nipping at our skin and the distant hum of Route 17 carrying echoes of leaf peepers heading home, everything shifted. Jake and I had been orbiting each other since freshman orientation. Two farm-raised kids from Rust Belt families who'd found solace in the grind of gridiron glory. He was the golden boy from Elmira, with that easy grin and arms like coiled springs. I was Ethan Caldwell from Binghamton, the scrappy quarterback everyone called E, because my full name felt too soft for the field. We'd high-five after interceptions, share Gatorade on the sidelines, but never more. Never the stolen glances that lingered too long in the locker room steam, or the way my pulse raced when his shoulder brushed mine during film sessions. Coach Ramirez had called it early that evening, the sun dipping low over the Adirondacks like it knew we needed the cover of dusk. "Teams earned this," he'd barked, clapping me on the back hard enough to rattle my teeth. "No curfew, no bullshit, just bond like brothers." 20 of us piled into the back of a flatbed truck borrowed from the AG department, rumbling down to the old practice field behind the dairy barns, where the goalposts stood like forgotten sentinels against the cornstalk stubble. Fireside stories were the plan. Tales of glory days, pranks on rival schools, the unbreakable code of the huddle. I cracked my first Coors Light, the aluminum cold against my palm, and laughed along as wide receiver Tommy regaled us with his latest conquest at the Delta Sig mixer. But my eyes kept drifting to Jake, perched on the tailgate, his flannel shirt rolled up to reveal the tattoo of a compass rose on his forearm, a nod to his old man's Navy days that I'd memorized without meaning to. As the fire pit crackled, casting flickering gold on our faces, the group thinned out. Some wandered to the edge of the woods for a smoke. Others sprawled on the grass, passing a flask of something that burned like regret. I lingered, nursing my beer, the foam bitter on my tongue, when Jake slid down beside me, our knees bumping in that accidental on purpose way that sent sparks up my spine. "Hell of a spiral today, E," he said, his voice gravelly from shouting plays, close enough that I caught the scent of his soap, clean, like pine and rain. I shrugged it off, muttering something about the wind being a bitch, but inside, the dam was cracking. We'd danced this dance before. The what-ifs buried under layers of heteronormative bullshit. The fear of what it meant to want more than brotherhood in a town where fag was still the go-to slur on game days. "You ever feel like this field's the only place it makes sense?" he asked, nodding toward the darkened pitch, where the yard lines blurred into infinity under the rising moon. His words hung there, heavy as the fog rolling in from the Chenango River, and I froze, throat tight. I'd spent 18 years building walls, coming out to my mom in a tear-streaked kitchen confessional at 16, only for her to hug me and whisper, "We'll keep it between us, baby. Your dad's got enough on his plate with the mill closing." Dad never knew. He died thinking his son was just focused on the game. College was supposed to be freedom, but here at Cortland State, it was more of the same. Bros before truths, glory over ghosts. I took a swig, the carbonation fizzing like unspoken confessions. "Every damn day," I admitted, the words slipping out before I could reel them back. His laugh was soft, surprised, and then he was looking at me. Not as the QB, not as the guy who threw for 300 yards last week against Ithaca, but as Ethan, the kid who'd lie awake listening to country radio, dreaming of hands that fit mine like a perfect route. We talked then, really talked, voices low as the embers died. about the pressure of being the face of the program, the scouts circling like vultures, the ache of loving the game but hating the cage it built around your heart. He told me about his little sister, how she'd caught him with a dog-eared copy of Giovanni's Room hidden under his mattress, and instead of judgment, she just said, "Love who lights you up, Jakey." Mine was simpler. The empty ache after every win, toasting with the team while feeling like the loneliest man on the planet. The others had trickled back to the dorms by midnight, leaving us alone with the field's whispery quiet. "Wanna run a few plays?" Jake suggested, that mischievous glint in his eye, and before I knew it, we were out there, helmets off, jerseys untucked, the grass cool and forgiving underfoot. No pads, no crowds. Just us, tossing fades under the stars, laughing when I overthrew and the ball sailed into the end zone like a shooting star. On the third snap, he stiff-armed me playfully during a fake blitz, and we tumbled, a tangle of limbs and breathless grins, rolling until I was pinned beneath him, his weight solid and warm breath mingling in the chill air. Time stuttered. His eyes, hazel flecked with gold from the distant floodlights, searched mine, and then, God help me. His lips brushed my jaw, tentative as a first-down sneak. I didn't pull away, couldn't. Instead, my hand found the nape of his neck, fingers threading through sweat-damp hair, and we kissed like we'd been starving for it our whole lives. Slow at first, exploratory, tasting of beer and possibility, then deeper, a release that shook me to my core. It wasn't fireworks. It was a quiet explosion, the kind that rewires your soul. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, and he whispered, "I've wanted this since that mixer pledge week." Thought I was crazy. Me too, I thought, but said instead, "You're not, and neither am I." We lay thereafter, side by side on the 50-yard line, hands linked in the dark, talking futures. Grad school for him in sports psych, pro tryouts for me, a life where we didn't have to hide. It felt like dawn breaking, even as the night deepened. But dawn brings light, and light exposes. The next morning, I woke in my single dorm room. Jake had slipped out before the RA rounds, with a bruise on my lip and a fire in my chest that no amount of coffee could douse. Practice was hell. Every glance his way felt electric, charged with secrets. Tommy noticed, of course. Slapped my back with a, "You look like you got laid, Caldwell." And I played it off with a bro fist, but inside, the thrill warred with terror. What if this was it? The real start, not some fever dream? We stole moments that week. A quick coffee run to the campus cafe, where he'd brush my hand under the table. Study sessions in the library stacks that dissolved into whispered plans for a weekend hike up in the Finger Lakes. "No teams, no towns," he'd say, eyes alight. "Just us." By midterms, it was a rhythm. The public facade of high-fives and hype videos, the private symphony of late-night texts, "Miss your laugh already," and stolen kisses in the equipment shed, the scent of leather and liniment our private perfume. He made me believe in more, in a world where love didn't come with asterisks, where two guys could build something real amid the roar of crowds. But America, my America, the one of Friday night lights and family barbecues, had other ideas. Whispers started in the locker room. A teammate spotting us too close at the field house. A blurry Snapchat from the gathering night that someone swore showed something weird. Jake brushed it off. Paranoia-y. But I saw the flicker in his eyes, the old walls rebuilding. The conflict hit like a thunderclap 2 weeks later, during homecoming against Oswego. We'd clinched a win, 28-17. My arm on fire from 3 TDs. But the real score settled in the post-game party at the frat house. Beers flowed, bass thumped, and Jake pulled me into a shadowed corner, his kiss fierce and urgent. "We tell them," he murmured against my skin. "Or at least coach. Can't keep this bottled." My stomach nodded, Coach Ramirez, with his tough love sermons and Bible quotes after losses. But Jake's certainty was infectious. Together, I agreed, heart pounding. We chose the wrong night. Tommy, 3 sheets to the wind, stumbled into our moment, phone in hand. "Whoa. Bros, wait, what the fuck?" His laugh started as shock, then twisted ugly, the kind that echoes in your nightmares. He didn't yell. Worse, he recorded. A grainy clip of Jake's hand on my waist, our mouths too close. By dawn, it was viral in the team group chat. QB and CB getting cozy? Team secrets. The betrayal burned. Tommy, my pledge brother, the guy who'd crashed on my couch after his folks split, trading our trust for likes and laughs. Panic set in. Jake went radio silent, texts unread. I holed up in my room, scrolling the fallout. Memes, slurs, anonymous DMs calling us disgusting quitters. Coach called an emergency huddle that afternoon, his face thunderous. This team's about unity, not distractions, he growled, eyes avoiding ours. Rumors swirled. Parents pulling support, boosters threatening cuts. I confronted Tommy in the parking lot, rain sheeting down like judgment. Why? I demanded, voice cracking. He shrugged, sheepish under the sodium lamps. Thought it was funny, man. Didn't mean for it to blow up. You know how it is, bros raz. But his eyes darted, guilty. And I saw it then. Not malice, but fear. The same cowardice I'd fought my whole life. He was protecting his own facade, betraying ours to stay safe. The climax crashed over us like a nor'easter that weekend. State playoffs loomed, but the team fractured. Whispers in the weight room, cold shoulders and drills. Jake finally texted, "Meet at the field." Midnight. I went, dread coiling in my gut. The turf slick with frost under a sky bruised purple. He was there, huddled on the bench, face gaunt in the moonlight. "They're saying we tanked the season," he said flatly, handing me a crumpled printout. Emails from alums, demands for our benching. My folks called. Dad's not okay. Thinks it's a phase. But the disappointment. His voice broke and mine followed suit. We argued then, raw and ragged, me begging to fight, him pulling back, whispering, "I can't lose everything, E. Not when it's just starting." The betrayal deepened. Not Tommy's clip, but Jake's retreat, his choice to armor up again, leaving me exposed. Tears came unbidden, hot on my cheeks as I grabbed his jacket. "This is us, Jake. Real. You said it. Love who lights you up." He cupped my face, thumb tracing my jaw, and for a heartbeat, we were back on that 50-yard line, invincible. Then his phone buzzed, his sister probably or coach, and he stepped away, the gap between us a chasm. "I need time," he choked out, and walked into the dark, leaving me shattered on the field that had birthed us. The days blurred into a gray haze after that, each one a slog through lectures I barely heard and practices where my throws sailed wild, earning glares from the line. The team tiptoed around me like I was a live wire. Sympathy from a few, like lineman Marco who slipped me a "we got your back" in note in my locker, but mostly the chill of avoidance. Social media was a minefield. I deleted the apps, but screenshots haunted me. Caldwell's a queer, time to find a real QB? From some booster's kid. My mom called from Binghamton, voice trembling over the line. "Baby," the paper ran a blurb. "Your uncle." He asked questions. I assured her it was fine. Nothing a good huddle couldn't fix. But the lie tasted like ash. Nights, I'd drive out to the old field alone, the empty stands mocking me, replaying Jake's goodbye like a bad highlight reel. Was it the kiss? The clip? Or had I been fooling myself all along, thinking a Rust Belt romance could rewrite the rules? Jake resurfaced a week later, cornering me after film study in the dim AV room, the projector humming its lonely dirge. Wait. His eyes were bloodshot, flannel rumpled like he'd slept in it. We sat on the carpeted floor, backs against projector cart, the scent of popcorn from the lounge seeping under the door. He spilled it all. The blowout with his dad, a bellowed, "This ain't us, son. Not in my house," followed by slammed doors and his mom's silent tears. I froze. He admitted, head in hands. "Thought if I stepped back, it'd blow over. But seeing you out there, throwing like your soul's bleeding. God, I miss you." His hand found mine, tentative, and I let it, the warmth a lifeline in the chill. We cried then. Quiet, shoulder-shaking sobs that bonded us deeper than any win. "No more hiding," I whispered, echoing his sister's words. He nodded, fierce. "Together, playoffs or bust." We rebuilt in stolen fragments. A shared cigarette behind the dorms, exhalations curling like promises. Study breaks where he'd trace routes on my palm, turning X's and O's into inside jokes. The team sensed the thaw. Tommy even apologized, awkward beer in hand at the diner, mumbling, "I fucked up, man. Was scared it'd happen to me next." Turns out, he was wrestling his own shadows, a bi-curious fling with a TA that he'd buried deep. Forgiveness came slow, but it came. We hugged it out over greasy fries, the first crack in the wall. Coach pulled us aside midweek, his office reeking of black coffee and old sweat. "Heard the noise," he grunted, steepled fingers creased like worry lines. "This program's bigger than rumors. But you too, fix it or it fixes you. No rainbow flags, no hugs, just gruff permission to exist." It was enough. Fall deepened, leaves carpeting the campus in crimson and gold, mirroring the fire reigniting between us. We carved out a rhythm. Morning runs along the river, where mist rose like secrets unveiled. Evenings in my room, door cracked for plausible deniability, sharing playlists. Springsteen for the grit, Hosier for the ache. Jake opened up about the compass tattoo. Not just for his dad, but for finding north when the world's spin made you dizzy. "You're mine," he said one night, lips brushing my temple as we lay tangled under a quilt from his childhood. It wasn't passion's blaze, but embers, steady, sustaining. I told him about Dad's mill stories, how he'd spin yarns of union strikes and diner coffee to make the layoffs bearable. "He'd have liked you," I said. "Tough exterior, heart of gold." Jake smiled, that lopsided one that undid me, and whispered, "Proud to be your north." But conflict simmered beneath the surface, bubbling up in unexpected ways. The scouts arrived for the Sunyak semis against Plattsburgh. Big league types in khakis and clipboards, sniffing for talent amid the small school scent. My stats were gold. 65% completion, 12 TDs, but off-field noise lingered. A reporter from the Syracuse Post-Standard cornered me post-practice. Mike thrust like a spear. "Ethan, rumors about team dynamics, any truth to the personal distractions?" My stomach dropped. Jake, overhearing from the sidelines, went rigid. I deflected with a grin. "Just focused on the W, sir." But inside, rage boiled. "Who leaked?" Tommy swore it wasn't him, and the trail led to Reggie, our backup safety, a loudmouth with eyes on my starting spot. Jealousy, pure and petty, disguised as team purity. The betrayal stung fresh when Reggie confronted Jake in the weight room, barbells clanging like accusations. "Harlan, you dragging me down with your fag shit? Scouts are watching." Jake shoved him, a controlled fury that ended in a shouting match, coach breaking it up with threats of suspension. That night, Jake paced my room, fists clenched. "It's poison E. They see us as the weak link." I pulled him down, hands framing his face. "Then we prove him wrong. On the field where it counts." But doubt crept in, a whisper. Was love a luxury we couldn't afford? Playoffs meant everything: scholarships, escapes from dead-end towns. But at what cost? We pushed through, channeling the hurt into drills. The semi was a war. Plattsburgh's defense swarming like hornets, their D-line sacking me twice in the first quarter. Jake shadowed their star receiver, stonewalling routes with a vengeance that bordered on poetry. Halftime score: 10-7, us trailing, locker room thick with tension. Coach's pep talk fell flat. "Play like men," until Jake stood, voice steady. "This is our house. We fight for what's real." Eyes met across the huddle. Mine on his, Marco nodding, even Reggie averting his gaze. Second half, I aired it out. A 40-yard post to Tommy, a screen to the tight end that flipped the script. Jake's pick six sealed it, 24-17. The crowd's roar a bomb on raw nerves. Post-game, scouts clapped my back. "Kid, you've got ice in your veins." But their eyes lingered on Jake and me, appraising. In the quiet after, under the emptying stands, we claimed our victory. His arms around me, turf yielding soft. We kissed with the taste of triumph. sweat salted, alive. "We did it," he breathed. But as confetti rained, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, screenshot attached. Reggie's doing, no doubt. It was the homecoming clip, forwarded to a scout's email with a winking emoji. The betrayal crested, wave crashing. Jake saw my face, paled. Not now," I snapped, storming off. The field that birthed us now a battlefield. The fallout from Reggie's leak hit like a deferred penalty. Delayed, but devastating. By Monday, the scouts' interest cooled. Polite emails about character concerns. Whispers of under-the-table talks with boosters who clutched pearls at the thought of their boys going pro with baggage. Coach called me in, door shut tight against the hallway bustle. "Caldwell, this shit's a distraction. Harlan too. Clean it up, or you're riding pine." His words landed like bricks, but it was the pity in his eyes, the same look Dad's foreman gave after the layoffs, that gutted me. I nodded, mute, and stumbled out into the quad. Autumn wind whipping leaves like accusations. Jake waited on the steps, thermos of coffee extended like an olive branch. "Heard," he said simply, and we walked. No words, just the crunch of gravel under boots. The river's murmur a soundtrack to our unraveling. We didn't break, not yet. Instead, we doubled down on us, carving deeper into the marrow of what we'd built. Weekends became sanctuaries. Drives upstate to Watkins Glen, where waterfalls thundered secrets over slate, and we'd hike hand in hand on trails empty of judgment, pausing to skip stones across gorge pools, each ripple a wish for resilience. "Remember why we started?" Jake would say, lacing fingers as we crested a ridge, the valley sprawling like possibility. He'd sketch plays on napkins at roadside diners, flea flickers for our future, audibles for the curveballs life threw. I shared my journals, scribbled dreams of coaching in the pros, mentoring kids who'd hide no more. It was romantic in its quiet grit, the kind of love that American ballads croon about, two against the tide, finding poetry in the fight. But the emotional undercurrents pulled stronger. Jake's family rift widened. His mom sent care packages. Jerky, socks, a note. "Proud of your heart, son. Call anytime. But Dad's silence was a void, echoing the mill's shuttered gates. One night, post-shower in the dorm lounge, he broke. Curled on the worn couch, voice muffled in my shirt. "What if I'm the reason you don't make it? The leak, the scouts." I held him, rocking like my mom did me after nightmares. "You're the reason I throw better, fight harder. This isn't a curse, Jake. It's our edge." Tears soaked my collar, but in them, catharsis. The raw humanity of loving amid loss, the beauty in vulnerability's bruise. The team, too, began to shift. Not a rainbow revolution, but fractures mending into something sturdier. Marco organized a pickup game at the intramural courts. No jerseys, just hoops under floodlights, where trash talk turned tender. "Reggie's an ass," he grunted mid-layup. "But he's scared shitless of his own daddy issues." Tommy joined, too, his apology evolving into allyship. Deleting old chats, hyping our plays on his story. Even Reggie thawed, a grunted sorry, man after weights, eyes downcast. Turns out the clip was his Hail Mary for attention. His pop's a washed-up coach who measured love in stats. Forgiveness wasn't fireworks. It was incremental, like building calluses on a throwing hand. Painful, necessary, leading to strength. As Thanksgiving loomed, the narrative twisted toward climax. The conference championship against Oneonta loomed. A grudge match under the lights, stakes sky-high. A bowl bid, pro nods, legacies etched in frost-kissed turf. But Reggie, desperate for redemption or revenge, escalated. He cornered Jake pregame, words venomous. "Tell E to watch his back. I've got more where that came from." Jake shoved him off, but the seed planted doubt, that insidious foe. I saw it in Jake's eyes during warm-ups, hesitation on routes, a fumble in the scout drill that wasn't his fault but felt like omen. "It's nothing," he lied, but I knew. The weight of worlds on our shoulders, love a fragile shield against the storm. Game night arrived with a vengeance. Stadium packed, air electric with wood smoke and anticipation, banners snapping in the gale. We started hot. My opening drive a 70-yard march, Jake blanketing their WR like a second skin. 7-0. But halftime brought hell. Anianta's blitzes ferocious, Reggie whispering sabotage from the bench. A missed block here, a delayed snap there. Score tied at 14, third quarter, disaster struck. Faking a handoff, I dropped back. Clean pocket, or so I thought. Their DE broke free, but it was our own safety who slipped. Reggie, feigning coverage, leaving me exposed. Sack, fumble. Anianta scooped and scored, 21-14. The crowd's groan was visceral. Jake's glare from across the field, daggers. I rallied us in the huddle, voice steel. This is ours. Fight for it. Fourth quarter, down by 7 with 4:12 left. We needed a miracle. Jake's interception, diving, full extension, ball clutched like a vow. Gave us life at midfield. My arm sang. Slant to Tommy, wheel to the slot, then the bomb. A 45-yard rainbow to our freshman speedster, Jake blocking like a demon. Tied. Overtime, field goal for them, then us. 50-yard line, wind howling. I scanned. Jake open on a post, but Reggie bumped him off route. A penalty whistled late. Incomplete. Second down. Audible, screen left. Hike. Pressure. I rolled right, eyes locking on Jake streaking free. Release, spiral tight, true. Touchdown. Pandemonium. But victory soured in the locker room. Reggie, adrenaline-fueled, exploded. You two queers cost us focus. Fists flew, Jake lunging, Marco restraining, coach bellowing order. I stepped in, chest to chest with Reggie. It's not us you're mad at. It's you. Hiding, hurting others to feel big. He deflated, shoulders slumping. The fight draining like air from a punctured ball. My dad. Sobs racked him, and in that broken moment, humanity pierced the armor. We didn't hug it out. Not yet. But the room hushed, truths laid bare. Outside, under sodium stars, Jake and I collapsed on the 50, medals heavy around necks. We won, he whispered, but his voice cracked. The betrayal's echo lingered. Reggie's sabotage a symptom of deeper rot. What now? I asked, hand in his. He turned, eyes fierce with unshed tears. Now we heal. All of us. Healing, it turned out, was no straight route. No clean spiral to the end zone, but a series of jagged audibles, each one testing the line between fracture and fortitude. The championship trophy gathered dust in coach's office while we navigated the wreckage. Reggie suspended for 2 games, mandated counseling through the athletic department's integrity initiative. A small mercy, born of Marco's quiet advocacy to the AD. He showed up at my door one rainy Tuesday, pizza box dripping, eyes red-rimmed. I get it now, he mumbled, passing a slice loaded with pepperoni, our old post-practice ritual. Dad's ghost. Makes you lash out. We talked till dawn. Not absolution, but understanding, the humanistic thread weaving through macho facades. By spring ball, he was Jake's shadow on drills, blocking with renewed fire, whispers of my bad, evolving into genuine barks of encouragement. Jake and I, though we dove deeper, emotions a turbulent current pulling us toward uncharted waters. Winter break split us. Me back in Binghamton, shoveling Mom's drive while she fretted over pot roast, probing gently about that nice Harlan boy with a knowing smile that eased the knot in my chest. He's good people, Ma, I said, and for the first time it felt whole, no qualifiers, no shadows. Jake's holiday was rockier. A tense drive to Elmira, where Dad's handshake was stiff, words clipped over turkey. Proud of the win, son. Rest is your business. But his sister bridged the gap, smuggling us a midnight meet at the old quarry, where we skinny dipped in the icy black water, shivering, laughing, bodies close against the cold, emerging renewed, like baptism. January brought snow-swept practices, the field a white canvas for fresh starts. We came out, officially, to the team during a bonfire retreat up at Greek Peak, flames leaping high as our nerves. Jake went first, voice steady. E and I, we're together. Real deal. If that's a problem, speak now. Silence stretched, taut as a goal line stand. Then Marco hooped, "About damn time." Tommy cracked beers, Reggie nodded slow. "Cool, man." And even Coach, invited as elder, grunted approval. Love's the ultimate team sport. Play fair. It wasn't parades, but progress. High fives with subtext, inside jokes about quarterback sneaks. The campus paper ran a feature, Red Dragon's unbreakable huddle. Love on and off the field. Sparking national ripples, emails from kids in similar straits. You gave me courage. Yet romance bloomed amid the thorns, tender and tenacious. Valentine's fell mid-blizzard. Jake surprised me with a thermos of hot cider spiked with cinnamon. A hike to the frozen Taganic Falls where we carved our initials in the snowbank, E+J, encircled by a heart as bold as a touchdown celebration. "Forever route," he quipped, and we made love to the wind's howl. Not bodies in frenzy, but souls intertwining, whispers of dreams shared under star-pierced clouds. It was American poetry. Two guys from nowhere, scripting their epic against the odds. Every touch a rebellion, every glance a vow. Spring unfurled with renewal, thaw melting more than ice. Scouts circled back, chastened by the championship glow and a shifting tide. My senior showcase drew NFL eyes, Jake's film earning grad school nods from Oregon. But conflict lingered, subtle as a stiff arm. Jake's wanderlust clashing with my rooted dreams. Portland's got rain like home, but bigger skies. He'd muse over diner eggs, fingers tracing my wrist. I'd counter with visions of Syracuse coaching gigs close to family, to us. We're a team, right? Audible together. Tension simmered, unspoken fears of drift. Love's fragility in ambition's gale. The climax crested in May, bowl prep intensifying under relentless sun. A regional expo in Albany tested us. Panels on athlete identity, where a heckler from the crowd spat slurs. Gridiron's no place for pansies. Mid-Q&A. Jake tensed beside me, but I stood, mic gripped like a game ball. Love doesn't weaken. It steals. We're proof. Applause drowned the bile, but backstage, Jake shattered. What if it's never enough? The hate, the doubts. I pulled him close, hallway echoing our breaths. It is, because it's us. We emerged arm in arm, fortified. Bowl week in Florida was fever dream bliss. Palm fronds swaying. The St. Pete turf emerald under tropic lights. Against Keene, we dominated, my 4 TDs, Jake's shutout secondary, but the Real win was internal. Post-game, confetti storming. Reggie? Cleared. Redeemed. Bear hugged us both. You assholes made me better. Tears mixed with Gatorade showers, brotherhood reborn. Yet the night's hush brought reckoning. On the beach, waves lapping like confessions, Jake dropped to one knee. Not ring, but a braided cord from his sister's loom. Sea glass woven in. Marry the game with me, E? All of it, the fields, the fights, the forever. My yes was a roar, salt-stung kiss sealing it under a canopy of stars. Betrayal's scars faded to stories, conflicts to character, emotions to anchors. Summer draped the Northeast in lazy gold, a respite before the senior grind. But for Jake and me, it was a forge, hammering our bond into something unyielding. We sublet a cabin on Seneca Lake, a creaky frame with sagging porch, and a rowboat that leaked just enough to keep us laughing. Mornings. Coffee black as the water, then laps across the bay, his freestyle slicing parallel to mine, strokes sinking like perfect timing. Afternoons. Trail runs through vineyard rows, grapes heavy with promise, pausing to steal breaths and berries, juice staining lips like shared secrets. Evenings. Fireflies winking as we grilled trout, Springsteen crooning from a Bluetooth speaker. Thunder wrote our anthem, that line about trading a fast car for a warm heart hitting home every time. It was humanistic idol. Not escapism but excavation, unearthing the men beneath the pads. Jake confessed the compass's full story, inked after a high school scout passed, a reminder that direction trumped destination. You pointed me true, he said, ash from the grill dusting his knuckles. I shared Dad's unpublished letters, yellowed pages from his mill days. Musings on resilience. Love as the real union. He'd say we're striking for our share. I joked, but tears pricked. Jake kissed them away, murmuring, then we're winning. No grand gestures, just the romance of roots. The drama in daily devotions. Emotions ebbing like the lake's tide. Back at Cortland by August. The air hummed with change. Freshmen wide-eyed, upperclassmen sun-kissed. The field reborn under mowers' hum. Coach unveiled the Harlan Caldwell Wing, a scholarship fund for LGBTQ plus athletes, seated by bowl swag sales and a booster's quiet check. You earned it, he rumbled at the assembly, mustache twitching pride. The team swelled, Marco out as by, Tommy mentoring a nervous soph. Reggie, transferred to a D2 school, but not before a farewell kegger where he toasted. To assholes who learn, laughter healed, turning wounds to wisdom. Senior season launched with fireworks. Opener against Morrisville, 42-10. My 400 yards a love letter to the lights. Jake's psych minor bloomed into a thesis on queer resilience in team sports. Interviews laced with our story, anonymized, but ours. Scouts buzzed louder. The Jets invited me to rookie camp. Portland State's AD courted him for TA gigs. But ambition's shadow loomed. Distance. The draft's roulette. Over post-game wings at the rusty rail, tension surfaced. What if it's Cali for you? Or Buffalo? Jake probed, wing sauce on his chin. I shrugged, heart heavy. We plan the route together. No solo runs. The conflict peaked in November. MAC playoffs a gauntlet. Against Alfred, a blizzard blanketed the field. Visibility nil. Footing treacherous. We clawed a 17-14 win, but Jake twisted his ankle on a juke. Minor, Doc said, but it sidelined him for the semis. I'm fine, he growled from the bench, ice pack mocking his bravado. I threw for 350, but victory tasted hollow without his coverage, his post-game grin. That night, in the trainer's dim office, he unloaded. Sitting out feels like losing you to the pros. What if the league chews you up, spits out the distraction? Vulnerability raw, his fear a mirror to mine. The betrayal of time, love's slow sabotage. I knelt, unlaced his brace like unwrapping fragility. Then we fight the blitz. You're my pocket, Jake. Always. We made plans. Couples counseling via campus wellness. A pact for bi-city visits if drafts diverged. It was dramatic catharsis. Emotions peaking in a tear-streaked vow. No field without you. Semis against Brockport. Jake suited up, taped and tenacious, his INT in OT clinching 27-24. The roar? Ours. Finals week blurred into frenzy. Exams, exit meetings, a championship rematch with Anianta under dome lights sharp as scalpels. It was apocalypse now. Defenses stacked, offenses sputtering, score knotted at 10-3. Fourth quarter, 2 o'clock left, down by 3, ball on our 20. The huddle hushed, eyes on me. Screen right, fake the slant. I called, but audible in my soul. This for us, for the boys who'd hidden, for the America we'd reclaim. Hike, drop, pressure, blitzers converging. I scrambled, eyes finding Jake on the flat, Reggie sealing the edge. Throw wobbling but true. Catch, run. 40 yards, diving pylon. Touchdown. 17-13. The stadium erupted, a human thunderclap. Post whistle, amid the scrum, Jake tackled me in joy, helmets clanging, arms locking. We did it, he gasped. And in that crush, betrayal's ghosts exorcised, conflicts resolved in sweat and glory. National invites followed, ESPY nods for Couple of the Year, a documentary pitch from HBO. But the true climax? A quiet drive home, Route 17 unspooling under harvest moon, his hand on my thigh. Graduation dawned crisp, gowns fluttering like flags of surrender. Diplomas in hand, families mingled. My mom hugging Jake like a third son, his dad extending a gruff, well done. The humanistic arc complete. Not perfection, but people, flawed and fierce. We loaded a U-Haul for Syracuse, my coaching gig at Le Moyne, his master's at SU, Commute short, dreams intertwined. Epilogue unwinds gentle. Years later, on a high school sideline in the Finger Lakes, whistle round neck, I watch our kid, adopted, towhead, cleats muddy, hurl spirals to his dad's. Jake, clipboard in hand, winks, like father, like son. The field stretches eternal, lights beckoning. But we've already won. Love's grand huddle, unbreakable. In the end, it wasn't the night that changed everything. It was the mornings after, the fights and forgivings, the choice to run the route together. America, with its rough edges and redemptions, taught us that. And damn, it feels like home.